All right, fragrance lovers, it is almost time for New Year's Eve. And these are not just winter fragrances. These are fragrances that smell like specific moments from New Year's Eve. From getting ready to the toast to the part where it all really falls off the rails.
Whatever happened to fun?
I'm so bored I could die.
Whether your New Year's Eve is spent at a quiet night alone or at a candlelit dinner or a rowdy party or even just at a bar, I've got a fragrance for every scenario. I'm going to review 5 fragrances that remind me of New Year's Eve, and at the end, I'm going to give you my 2 cents. Let's get going. Oh, hi everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sean, and this is my 2 cents. If you're a new viewer, welcome, and if you've been here before, then welcome back. Before we get started, I do want to say, if you like fast-paced fragrance reviews and you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. The algorithm really likes it when you do that, and so do I. Also, if you haven't followed on TikTok or Instagram, I'm starting to build those up. Here is the address. Please go over there and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. All right, so like I've said, I've got 5 fragrances here that all remind me of specific moments during New Year's Eve. From getting ready, to getting to dinner, to getting to the party, to going to a bar afterward, each one of these fragrances is going to be symbolic of a specific moment. If you have enough time during the evening, I definitely recommend wearing all 5 fragrances. If not, pick your favorite one and go with that. All right, so let's get started. So the first fragrance on the list is going to be the Getting Ready Arrival Energy fragrance. And this comes to us from the House of Creed. The fragrance that I've chosen for this moment is going to be Millésime Impériale by Creed. All right, so for me, this fragrance is exactly how the night starts. The notes in this, at the top, you've got bergamot, you've got citrus. In the middle, you've got sea salt and marine notes, and in the bottom, you've got soft musks and woods. So this opens with a burst of citrus, and citrus for me is all about awakening, it's all about clarity. This wakens you up and really sharpens you and gets you ready for the night ahead. And then you've got that sea salt note, which adds sort of a cool freshness, almost like stepping out into the air before your night begins. And don't be misled, this isn't one of those fragrances that I'm saying has to be worn in cold weather, it has to be worn on New Year's Eve. This is giving you a vibe. This fragrance is all about getting ready, putting on your coat, checking your reflection one last time, stepping out into the cold air, and then seeing those city lights just begin to glow. So this fragrance works very well for early in the night. It's not a heavy fragrance. It works very well for that moment when you're hugging people, you're talking to people, you're moving in between places. And this is the part of the night where you don't want anything heavy yet. This is clean, it's confident, it's awakening, and it's a very good fragrance for the early part of the evening. And also the bottle is fantastic for New Year's Eve. So if you don't know Millésime Impériale by Creed, definitely get your nose on this. It's one of their more popular fragrances, so if you're familiar with the House of Creed, I can imagine that you've smelled it before. But definitely check it out. This is a great fragrance to start your evening on New Year's Eve off right. Okay, so now we're on to the second part of the evening. You've gotten ready, you've gotten out of the apartment, you've gotten out of the house. Now you're moving on to whatever your plans are. So the first set of plans that we have for you is an elegant dinner, formal start to the evening, and the fragrance that I've chosen for this moment is by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. It is called Grand Soir. All right, so now let me set the scene. You've arrived at the restaurant, you're finally seated, the drinks are poured, and the voices start to lower in conversation. And this fragrance only enhances and anchors the moment. This is an amber vanilla delicious bomb. You've got that amber, the vanilla is not over the top sweet, it never goes gourmand, it is soft, it is subtle, it is glowing. So the amber and resins here only work to amplify that warm indoor light that you might see in the restaurant. Think chandeliers, think candles burning, think polished rooms. The vanilla here is not at all dessert-like. It is rounded, it is elegant, which matters a lot when you're sitting close to people at dinner. So this is a warming fragrance. It smells expensive, it smells composed, it's not playful at all. So this is a perfect fragrance for that elegant, delicate portion of the evening before the New Year's Eve countdown energy takes over. This is one of those fragrances that's going to fill space quietly. It's not going to scream, it's not going to overwhelm you. It's formal without even really trying. This is not going to be a beast mode fragrance. This is a warm, cozy fragrance that's going to invite people to lean in closer. Perfect for those intimate dinner conversations that you'd have on New Year's Eve before setting out to go to the party. So if you don't know this fragrance, definitely go out and get a sample. I don't wear this fragrance as much as I should. I really love it. I really love the intimacy of it. I love that it's not loud. This fragrance has real longevity. It has a low to moderate projection, but I really love what this fragrance does. This is a warm, cozy, comfortable fragrance, and I really love what they've done with the amber and the vanilla. I'm not a huge fan of overly vanilla fragrances, but this is not a sweet or cloying vanilla. This is just used to wrap up the resins in the amber, and it's all blended beautifully. So if you don't know this fragrance, definitely get yourself to the store wherever they have Maison Francis Kirkjohn. You'll find this fragrance. Get yourself a sample, or at least just spray it on your skin and give it a try. But because this fragrance gives off such elegant and formal vibes, I thought it was the perfect fragrance for that candlelit dinner on New Year's Eve. That's why I chose Grand Soir by Maison Francis Kirkjohn for New Year's Eve fragrances. All right, on to fragrance number 3. So you've gotten ready, you've gotten to the restaurant, you've had your dinner, you've had your conversation. It's time for the moment, the toast. So the fragrance that I've chosen for that moment when you have the toast and the festivities begin is by the House of Amouage. It's called Jubilation 25. And this is one of those fragrances where the name actually matters. So in this fragrance, you've got notes of blackberry, you've got fruity notes, you've got incense, you've got resins, and you've got woods. So the fruit notes here actually feel festive. They're not sweet, they're not bubbly, think more ripe than playful. Then you add the incense, which gives it almost a ceremonial feel, which I think is key for New Year's Eve. Don't think of this fragrance as a party fragrance. This is more of a milestone joy. This is the time of the night where the room starts to quiet down, glasses are being raised, there's sort of a collective pause, and there's a collective thought of, well, we made it through another year. This is one of those fragrances that understands that you know that New Year's Eve is also emotional. It's not just about having fun. Jubilation 25 is one of those fragrances that smells significant, it smells like it's marking time, and it smells like you deliberately picked it for the moment. As you know, I'm a huge fan of the House of Amouage. This was one of the first fragrances that I got, and I'm sad to say that I don't wear this as much as I used to. It's one of those fragrances that I see on the shelf and I think, God, I should give that one a little bit more attention. And every time I spray it, I'm reminded how great it is. This is the fragrance that really opened me up to the House of Amouage, I would say, because I really thought Amouage fragrances were all very incensey, very smoky, very dark. But this one here has the incense, but it has such a bright opening. It's completely different than anything that I had before. But I really should wear it more often, and you should definitely give it a try. For that moment in the night when you're getting ready to make the toast and remember the year that you've had, this is a perfect fragrance. Go out and give it a try. This is Jubilation 25 by Amouage. All right, on to fragrance number 4. Once the gravitas of the moment has passed, you've made your toast, midnight has passed, you're entering that black tie party atmosphere afterward. The fragrance that I've chosen for that moment is by the house of Marc-Antoine Barrois, and it is called Encelade. All right, so let me set the scene for you. You've just made your toast, you've had a lot of champagne, midnight has passed, and the party has just started to begin. All right, so just a few of the notes in Encelade. You've got green facets, you've got rhubarb, you've got vetiver, you've got dry woods, and you've got mineral notes. The green and mineral notes in this feel sort of sharp and alert, not exactly cozy. The vetiver adds structure and seriousness. It feels very tailored. It feels very controlled. There's a smokiness to this. It sort of gives you the vibe, if you're not thinking specifically on New Year's Eve, of the side of a volcano. You've got the jungle growing on it, so there's a green smokiness to this fragrance. But with regard to New Year's Eve, this sort of feels like the moment when just after midnight, you're leaving dinner, you've left the toast, you're heading to your next event, you step out, you got the cold in your face, you can sort of feel or smell the smoke from the fireworks that just went off at midnight, and it's that moment that you're heading to your party, be it a black tie event or a regular party. This is a perfect fragrance. Encelade has a lot of versatility. It can be worn at a generic party, it can be worn at a black tie event, but it's a perfect fragrance for that moment after you've had the toast, you've left dinner, and you're getting ready to go to a formal event, one of those black tie affairs, and it's sort of reminiscent of everything that you would smell right before that event. If you don't know this house, the most famous fragrance has got to be Ganymede by Canton Biche. Canton Biche has also done this one as well. He's also done Encelade. This is a fantastic fragrance. I think everybody probably goes over to the Marc-Antoine Barrois display and they pick up Ganymede or they pick up Tilia. This one I think doesn't get as much attention, but it's also a phenomenal fragrance. It's very well blended. You don't really know what you're smelling here. Even when you read the notes, you can sort of smell a mineral note to it. You smell a smoky note to it, and you can sort of smell the greenness of the vetiver. But if you don't know Encelade by Marc-Antoine Barrois, I definitely suggest getting your nose on this fragrance. But like I said, I feel like it's great for that moment after the toast, after you're heading to your party or your black tie event. That's why I put Encelade by Marc-Antoine Barrois on the New Year's Eve fragrance list. All right, so as I promised, this is the part of the list where everything falls off the rails. You've had your toast, you've left, you've gone to a party, and now you're going to an even bigger party afterward, or you're heading to a bar. So this is the part of the evening where the bad decisions kick in, and the fragrance I've chosen for this moment is by the House of Nascimento. It is called Barra Onda. All right, so this is the part of the evening where all the restraint is over. You've left your dinner, you've headed to your party, whether it's going to be a classy party or whether you're going to go to a dive bar. This is the fragrance that's going to accompany you for those moments. So the notes that matter in this fragrance, at the top you've got boozy notes, you've got a whiskey accord. In the middle you've got woody tones, and in the base you've got warm ambers. So this is a fragrance that smells like actual alcohol. You can really smell the whiskey note in this. It's not just some sweet interpretation of it. I remember giving this fragrance to my dad, and I asked him specifically what he smelled in this when he knew nothing about the fragrance and nothing about the house, and he immediately said, "This smells like whiskey." Any other night of the year, wearing a fragrance like this may be a little bit risky, but not New Year's Eve. This is the fragrance that's going to remind you of a packed bar. It's going to have heavy pours. There's going to be loud music. There's going to be a lot of leaning in too close, and there's going to be a lot of losing track of time. This is 100% a boozy party fragrance unapologetically. So this is a perfect fragrance for that part of the evening because New Year's Eve after parties allow excess. Nobody wants anything controlled. People invite chaos, and nobody wants subtle anymore. So if you're familiar with the House of Nasamato, you know that it's formulated by Alessandro Gualtieri, who doesn't give us the exact notes in his fragrances. He leaves it up to the interpretation of the wearer, but this is definitely, hands down, a whiskey fragrance. As you can see, I've used half of my bottle. This is a fantastic fragrance. If you don't know it, this is a great fragrance for those moments that you want to have fun. It's warming, it's calming, it's inviting, but it still gives that party punch. So that's why I chose this fragrance for that boozy chaos after party moment on New Year's Eve. If you don't know Nasamato's Barra Hondo, you definitely have to check it out. So there they are, 5 different New Year's Eve fragrances for 5 different portions of the evening. They all happen to be gold. I don't know why, but there they are. So let me know what you think about these fragrances. Is there anything that you think I've left out? Of course, let me know in the comments. If you think that these are the 5 fragrances, or you would choose one of these fragrances for your New Year's Eve festivities, please let me know which one and let me know why. So I chose each one of these fragrances because they all fit really a real moment and not just a vibe. So if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, also give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about any of these fragrances. I love interacting with everyone. I've been responding to all the comments, even the nasty ones. Yeah, but these are 5 fragrances for me that actually match how the night unfolds. I want to say thank you for watching yet again. This has been my 2 cents. My name is Sean. I hope each and every one of you has a safe, happy, and healthy New Year. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, that was my 2 cents. My name is Sean. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope to see you next episode.